Hi, everybody. Welcome back. We're live on Facebook again. We're going to be talking about jargon as it pertains to the financial world this week. We've covered so far accountant and EA, and today we're going to cover CPA. And if you would like some education about this, a little longer form, we're actually going to be doing a in-person seminar on February 24th in Walnut Creek. There is a link below for you to learn more about the event and see all of the description in Eventbrite and purchase tickets if you're interested. There is a discount code for $50 off of the early bird pricing, which brings the price down to $97. And the discount code is Savvy VIP. So that's SAVVY VIP. And that will get you $50 off of the early bird pricing. The code is active throughout all of the ticket sales, but if you want to get the deepest discount, then use it now during the early bird pricing. So I am going to be covering CPAs today. So we're going to be talking about the terminology CPA. And I thought about it today. I'm like, why do you care, right? Why do you want to know what all of the different financial roles are and what all of the different acronyms mean, and why do I care what the difference is between an accountant and an EA and a CPA? Well, it's sort of like finding the right tool for the right job, right? If you're going to have electrical work done in your house, you're not going to go out and hire a handyman to do electrical work in your house.
Or at least you should consider it before you do, because I know some people who will. It doesn't mean they should.
And again, electrical work is one of those things. If it can cause a fire in your house, I want the expert, right? I want an electrician, not a handyman. Well, it's the same thing with your finances. You need to find the right person, the right professional for the right job. So I just want to bring some clarity to all of the different terms so that you all know what you're getting into. As they say, you do you, boo-boo, right? If you want to go out and hire an unlicensed person to do your accounting for you, then please, by all means, have at it.
Really, you're going to say you do you, boo-boo, when it comes to people's finances?
You do you, boo-boo.
Okay. You know what I just realized?
What?
This is wrong.
Because I'm like taller than
Yes.
her? In real life, this is so wrong.
So wrong.
Like, this is about how much taller than me she is normally. But she's got the short chair today, so. Anyways. So today we're going to talk about certified public accountants, or CPAs. A lot of people use their CPA to do their taxes, and absolutely CPAs are excellent for doing taxes. But the CPA exam and the certified public accountant is really much, much more than that. So I did a little research. And I will tell you that—
You did research?
I did. I did a little research because
this isn't just all straight out of your brain?
It's not straight out of most of it is straight out of my brain, but I like to get some facts and figures for you guys. Again, I mean, if you come to see us—
We're super nerdy like that.
We're super nerdy. I love doing research and learning about stuff. So you come to see me at a seminar, I try not to overwhelm you, but I absolutely will try and find all the juicy tidbits to tell you. So that's one of my favorite things to do. So certified public accountant, they all of the sort of sites and things that I went to see, they talk about the 4 E's of being a CPA, and that's education, experience, ethics.
Wait, in finance have ethics?
Well, there's a little in air quotes, in some states.
Is California one of those states?
California is one of those states.
Okay. So financial people have ethics like lawyers have ethics?
Exactly. They actually have to take the California Professional Ethics exam.
And I'm required to take California Continuing Education on ethics.
And so
all the
are
time.
And so are CPAs. So, and then the last one is the examination. I was going to ask you, did you take the California Professional Ethics exam, or is it just all wrapped up in taking the bar? And
no, they do this really extensive background check that includes like a credit check and like all sorts of stuff, and it can take months in order to pass that. So yeah, the bar does their own sort of background on you, and then they do make you take a certain level of business and professions classwork while you're in law school, and then they also make you take, like I said, well, we were talking about it earlier, they're called MCLEs for me, but continuing education courses that include things like elimination of bias and ethics and some other things that are required for as long as I want to be a practicing attorney in California.
Right. So for a CPA, the actual term for the education is continuing professional education, or CPE. And I believe there's also the term for the units that you get, or CEU, or continuing education units. And you have to complete a certain number of those each year. So I know yesterday we talked about enrolled agents, or EAs. And for an enrolled agent, the continuing professional education requirements is 12 hours per year, with 72 hours required over the course of 3 years. They also, the EA, if you remember yesterday, does not require specific education requirements. They are literally only required to pass the examination that is given by the IRS.
They could be like me and just read the book the night before? If they're a really good test taker?
If they're good like that, yes. So, and each of the sections for the enrolled agent is about 100 questions. They are licensed federally, and it is the highest license that the IRS awards. The IRS does not license CPAs. CPAs are licensed at the state level. So especially if you're running a business in a particular state, a CPA who is licensed in your state is licensed in the specific state accountancy, what's the word?
Jumbo stuff. Things.
There you go.
All of that.
The terminology and the laws that are particular to your state. Like I said, in California, there's an additional requirement besides the education, the experience, and the examination, which is ethics. They must take the professional ethics examination in California in order to be licensed. So, like I said, the EA did not have any requirements for education, but the CPA has a requirement of at least a BA with a focus in accounting. And so they have to go to a college or a university, and they have to get a degree that includes some level of accounting in order for them to be able to take the examination. Now, the examination itself is 4 parts, where the EA examination was only 3, and there's not so much focus on tax as there is on just general business knowledge and general knowledge about accounting and all of the accounting practices. So
if I want someone who actually understands my business,
yes,
and like how to manage cash flow and how to tell me about my expenses versus my revenue and the difference between revenue and profit and all of that stuff.
So CPAs are great for that. Most CPAs that I know don't necessarily do as much of that's kind of consulting work, right?
Okay.
They don't do as much of it. CPAs have sort of found their niche in doing taxes, generally speaking, but they are great for if you're going for a business loan and you need audited financial statements. A CPA is the only one that can do that. There's another level that's called attestation, and a CPA is the only one that can do that as well. It's attesting to the
validity,
efficacy. I'm trying not to use big words. You got mad at me yesterday.
Yesterday I was half asleep before we even started this thing. So
there you go. So CPAs have certain things that they are allowed to do. And that comes with getting the licensing through the state of California or whatever state that they happen to be in. They are not licensed at a federal level, right? So they're not licensed by the IRS the same way that enrolled agents are. That doesn't mean that they can't.
Can they rep you with the IRS though? Because the enrolled agents could.
Yes.
So, okay.
So CPAs can represent you with the IRS. They're just not, they're not awarded the right by taking a test with the IRS. It's just like with lawyers, it's just through the rigor of having to go through all of that schooling, the rigor of having to take that giant long test and passing an ethics examination. And they also have to have 2 years of experience before they can be licensed. So they have to spend 2 years working in accounting somehow, some way, usually under the under the supervision of a CPA. So I did find an interesting.
So wait a second, is the EA exam the same as the CPA exam, except for the fact that the CPAs take an additional section, or are they two separate tests?
No, they're really different. So the CPA exam is actually called the Uniform CPA exam. So it's specific to CPAs. There's 4 different parts. So I'll tell you the parts. Some of it's still mumbo jumbo. Number 1 is auditing and attestation. So like I said, somebody who can audit your financial records, attest to the validity of your financial statements, that's part of the test that they take. Number 2 is for business environment and concepts. So again, learning about business and what kind of accounting you need to be doing inside of a business. 3rd is financial accounting and reporting. So that's again, learning how to read financial statements, learning how to read the general ledger, learning how to read all of those reports. I mean, if you go in QuickBooks, if you have QuickBooks and you go under the reports, most of those reports are meant for a CPA or other accounting professional. They're not really made for the business owner. They're made for somebody who understands accounting and accounting.
That's the reason
jargon.
I don't look in QuickBooks.
Right. And then number 4 is regulation. So the experience is 2 years for any accounting in order to be able to be licensed to be a CPA. But if you're going to do the attestation of the validity of financial statements, you actually are required to have 500 hours of attestation experience during those 2 years. Now, a full-time equivalent person is 2,080 hours a year, so it's not that much when you compare.
But it's still about 12.5% of your time over the course of 2 years.
There she goes doing math again.
I can do a little bit of math. Just a little bit.
Tell her to stop doing math on my lives.
You guys don't have to do math. I'll just do it all the math, all the time.
No math in my seminar, I promise. So I did learn an interesting statistic, and we will end with this.
You are not going to make them do math, but you're going to give them statistics.
It's a cool statistic, and I did math for them again.
Okay.
So, I was reading along, and we talked about accountants. So accountant was the first term that we covered. And I learned that the state of California actually did a poll asking what people thought about the term accountant, right? And as I said to you on, what was it, Monday?
I think
it was a couple of days ago.
It was a couple of days ago. I think it was Monday.
So as
I said today.
It's Wednesday?
No, it's Thursday.
Yes.
We lost a day.
We lost a day somewhere.
Sorry.
So anyways, when we talked about accountants, I said that a lot of people think that means CPA. And I found that the poll that California did asked people what they thought when they heard the term accountant. 55% of Californians think that means you have to have a license in order to be an accountant.
And yet we found out whenever it was, Monday or Tuesday, that being an accountant, I think it was Tuesday. I think we did some random little, hey, this is what we're going to do the rest of the week. So on Tuesday, you told us that.
Well, I have the definition written down specifically
that
today.
An accountant doesn't have to have anything.
No.
Like they're just somebody who looks at finances or at the books or at whatever. It's anybody who deals with numbers, basically.
Yep. Person whose job is to keep or inspect financial accounts. That's the only definition of an accountant. And there was an additional 19% of Californians that didn't know one way or the other whether they needed a license or they didn't need a license. So 74% of Californians do not understand that the term accountant is just a generic term. They think that they either think that it does need license, or they're just not sure whether it does or not. So that was sort of a wake-up call. I knew that from experience, but to see that they'd actually done a poll and asked the question and came up with 74% of Californians don't know was a little unnerving to me. So that's it for today. We're at the 45-minute mark. Jen has somewhere to go in a little bit, so we need to wrap things up. So would you like to tell them about Bookkeeping Like a Boss?
Sure, since I've been sitting here more or less quiet this whole time, and we all know that that's hard for me.
Exactly.
So Heather told you a little bit about it at the beginning anyway. Stole my thunder again. It's the second time today. So Bookkeeping Like a Boss is going to be on February the 24th. That's a Saturday, so that we're not taking any extra time out of your business. It is all day long. It is from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. It is going to be at, well, it's to be determined in terms of the exact location. It's really not, because I know where it's going to be, but we got contracts in circulation, so I won't disclose it just yet. But it is in the city of Walnut Creek, so you guys are welcome to come there. We'd love to see you. It is an all-day live in-person event, and we feed you. We provide you with coffee and tea in the morning to get you all amped up for the day. We give you a healthy, nutritious lunch in the middle of the day, and then we give you chocolate and more coffee at the end of the day to get you all ramped up back again. And we give you goodie bags and workbooks and so much information that hopefully your head doesn't explode, but
we try and keep it just this
just
side
the side of exploding.
of head exploding.
So yeah, so all of that's going on. The discount code, again, if you missed it, is Savvy VIP, SAVVY VIP, and that brings it all the way down to $97 if you get in soon and get your early bird pricing, which is more than 50% off, as I was informed a couple of days ago.
More than 50%.
And we are going to have, are we going to do a scavenger hunt?
Yes, we'll announce the scavenger hunt tomorrow on Friday, so that'll give you some time over the weekend and into next week for finding all of the items on our scavenger hunt. And for participating in our game, we'll give an even deeper discount code to those that
Participate
and
let us know
and
that
give
you
us
figured it out.
figure out the answers to the scavenger hunt.
So that's your incentive for paying attention and for watching us and putting up with all of this. So Friday, February 24th, Walnut Creek.
Saturday, February 24th.
Saturday, February 24th, Walnut Creek, all day long. Come hang out with us. It'll be awesome. Bookkeeping Like a Boss.
There's a Learn More button below where you can click to go to the Eventbrite page to get more information and to buy your tickets. And we will be back tomorrow. What am I going to cover tomorrow?
I don't know. What are you going to cover tomorrow?
Let's go for the other A. So tomorrow we are going to cover Certified Management Accountants, which is a
anybody know what a CMA is? I mean, I do, but that's only because she used to work for one.
I used to work for the first CMA firm in
California.
I think it was actually in the United States.
Okay, so see, we're old. Thanks for sharing that.
Anyways,
so we're gonna go now.
Thanks everybody for joining us. We really appreciate your time, and we will see you all tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.